But do you think the league is kind of relying on stars a little bit too? I don't want to say over the hill, but the
The
league,
stars of yesterday.
yeah, there's a lot of like you could see it with the injury report this season. There's a lot of stars. They're like 35 plus. It's like yo, like
Yeah.
the league is a little bit too old. Like it's the league. I don't know. It's the marketing has always been around the next generation. It's never fully been around guys 35.
Yeah, LeBron, bro, decades gets harder to replace.
Yeah, and it's not working either because
Yeah.
we're hearing about the ratings.
Because now we're talking 2003. You're talking, what, 21 seasons in the NBA now?
Yeah, it's just
22 seasons, my apologies.
yeah, it's just I don't think it's sustainable. But the drop off is coming. What do they always say about J. Cole? He has like a album called The Drop Off or some shit like that.
Some song like that,
Or
yes.
fall
About
season,
like,
yeah, the fall off or
yeah,
some shit. Yeah,
yes.
that's basically what's waiting for LeBron, man. There's a fall off coming.
Man, he's falling out on his own terms, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely a
then
fall off. I think I
you
think
want to
I
talk
think
about
Ja
number.
Morant gonna be part of it though. Ja
You
coming
think
for his
John
neck.
Morant's gonna dethrone him?
Ja already made it be known.
I think Victor Wembanyama.
I don't think Victor's gonna be ready in time.
Did you see Sham's room? Sham said something on ESPN that LeBron's looking to retire next year.
I wouldn't be shocked, man, because the fall off it has to be coming, bro. It's like, come on, man. Like, you're really like the thing is, LeBron has to worry about him falling off. This is how LeBron's fall off is gonna look like. It's gonna look like him averaging maybe 22, 8-8, or 7-7, but the
Yeah.
Lakers are like the 11th seed in the West for a whole
Yep.
season. That's how his fall off is gonna look like.
You're predicting a Kobe type fall off where it just like he's getting the green light to do whatever in every every game he visits.
Exactly.
Yeah, but dude, I think it was LeBron talked about retirement a long time ago. I don't want to miss. I think he said something to the extent that he doesn't want to like make it into like a big festival, which is pure bullshit. LeBron's for sure making it a big festival once he announces retirement.
Yeah, and the craziest part is that I feel like the league is gonna have better basketball once he leaves.
Oh, 100%. You're gonna get better fandom too, because now those fans have to attach to a new player. So now you open the game up for like John Morant, Paulo Banchero,
For the
uh,
for the
Shai
younger teams.
Alexander. Yep, younger players, younger teams. But like I think he said something about I'm not trying to make it a big deal or whatever. I'm like LeBron, you care about your brand. You are gonna release a Nike ad where you announce your retirement. Like
Yeah,
let's keep it real
facts.
now.
He loves
Let's
attention.
keep it real. He loves it, bro. He's not retiring like Tim Duncan. He's going out like Kobe. If not, like in his mind, he's going out bigger. Because I remember when Kobe retired. It was an article. Was it an article or something like that where he released like I'm retiring, and that was when like he couldn't stay healthy to start the season off. He's like, you know what, this is where my road ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I think also with D Wade, he retired like after he was frustrated. Like he almost retired in his time in Cleveland, where if he didn't get traded back to Miami, he probably would have called it quits anyways. But I think, and then obviously he had the whole jersey exchange retirement tour. So these LeBron, if those two went for like this big deal, grandiose, or Kobe didn't really try to go for grandiose outside of the 60 point game, but he was such a cultural phenomenon that it became a cult. Like it was more organic than as compared to D Wade or mm, potential LeBron James retirement tour, you know? So it's for sure gonna be a big commercial deal. So I think if LeBron announces retirement next season, I wouldn't be surprised if like the NBA Finals is forgotten about, unless it's like 3-1 style, like Leaguer Kobe retired.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man, because the NBA is entering into streaming, and I just think that transition, it's probably gonna happen when the NBA enters into streaming.
Look, man, you cannot rely on a 40-year-old to be the face of your league when you're going into a new platform.
Yeah, you're right, they can't, but the attention will be there to start it off, and I think their plan is to figure it out from there, because the one excuse the NBA has that nobody's talking about with all the NBA has low ratings storylines or
Hmm.
whatever is that if you look at the amount of streaming platforms to watch an NBA game on, it's so spread out that there'll never
Yeah.
be ratings on one thing.
I don't think they care about ratings. I think they care about advertisement now.
Yeah, they care about advertisement and real estate and streaming, I would say. Because
Yep.
they have
Also,
plenty of inventory. There's plenty of NBA content. It's 82 games
so,
from 32 teams. Or well, how many teams in the league? 32?
yeah.
Yeah, 32 teams, 82 games. So they have plenty of content to give to streaming.
Okay, right now you're cooking, right? Let me cook this, and you tell me the idea. Next year they're going to streaming, right, on Amazon.
On
So
Amazon,
what if
NBC, and ESPN streaming
all
also.
three platforms, right? Wouldn't it be the most ideal for LeBron to retire once this transitioning era happens?
It would be. It would be. It would guarantee
Like,
them certain
imagine the
ratings
money.
for the streaming.
Imagine the money that's pouring in. The last, like, LeBron James. This is potentially watching LeBron's one of his few last games against, I don't know, Luka Doncic, against John Morant. If Zion's healthy, against Zion, Victor Wembanyama, the future versus the current. Um,
Oh
you
yeah,
got
they're
a
gonna
lot of
plan. They're
storylines.
gonna plan it out
Yeah,
that way because
yeah,
when you think about it, just like the
mhm,
Jake Paul and Tyson fight, it's gonna be
yeah,
streamed globally. It's
globally.
gonna be one streaming link
Mhm.
that's global.
And forget the younger guys. Imagine the games people tune in to watch him versus Kevin Durant for the last time. Him versus Steph Curry. Him and Kyrie Irving sharing the court for the last time. Him in Miami Heat for the last time. Him in Cleveland for the last time. Holy shit, you're asking for like something to be talked about for like a whole month, a discourse surrounding just his appearance stepping into the court in Cleveland for the last time, stepping in the court in Miami where you see D Wade, Bosh, and those guys because they're gonna make it a big spectacle, right? You look at just like him and Kevin Durant, two guys who spent their whole careers going at it with each other. Him and Steph Curry, all those great finals runs. His peers with James Harden and Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, like the storylines with just his peers and kind of the younger talent, it'll be fire.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
And on top of all of it, is gonna be with his son, Bronny.
yeah. His son, his son will probably get more minutes next season. Knowing that he's retiring, so it's a lot that these streaming services would probably bank on, and it makes the most sense for LeBron to try to go to that route if he were to announce his retirement, usher in a new era, whatever he wants to do. The king is the king is done. The king is whatever, and he'll probably retire on his own terms. Because if LeBron's team sucks, what are fans gonna say? Oh, it took what teams for it took teams to beat the king when he's 41. So it's a win-win for everyone.
That's true. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
the
that's a
haters,
good point. That's a really good storyline, man. Wow, I can't lie, man. I want to tune into that storyline. I'm not even gonna lie. I
dude.
want
It'd be
to tune
fun.
into that.
Dude, imagine how many like fucking subscriptions NBC, Amazon, and those guys will sell just off that storyline. So it's plausible. It's more than plausible.
Yeah, because the Luca versus LeBron for the last time could be where's Luca from? He's not from Slovenia.
And he's from Slovenia.
Oh yeah. So imagine
Yeah.
the people in Slovenia gonna be tuning in because remember this is
Yep.
streaming now. So hey, tune in. It's gonna be that most of that country is gonna be watching versus LeBron now because it's gonna be
China,
one
yeah.
stream. It's gonna be one stream now.
And then you got audiences in China, right? This audiences everywhere willing to watch LeBron James' last game. Like, bro, it sets the stage up for something bigger than bigger than, I don't know,
Yo,
bigger than the Olympics, bigger than everything.
yeah,
Because
you're
that was the
right.
Olympics. That was what the Olympics was about this year. It was about seeing three legends play basketball for
Together,
possibly the last time. Yeah,
yeah.
and
You,
that sold a lot.
you know, it's so funny you saying that about like the global aspect to it. One thing we don't hear too much about it anymore that we used to is the China dynamic. I don't know
Yeah,
what's the
or
China dynamic with the NBA.
geopolitics.
No, but like honestly, it's shocking that we don't really hear with the NBA and these TV deals. We don't hear too much about China.
I think what ruined it big time for China was the whole Daryl Morey controversy from a couple years back.
So what do you think? You think they don't show the games? Period. I think the NBA still got to
No,
deal with
they
them.
show the games. They show the games, but I think with America's geopolitics and I think with Trump's administration, this upcoming one and the previous, and their hostilities towards the Chinese government, and obviously like all the economics and all that stuff. Like economic hustle, I think there will be a cold war between both powers when it comes to economy all over the world, right? I
Mhm.
think obviously it's probably best for the NBA to kind of distance itself from China, despite it being a big market, you know?
Wow. Yeah, because throughout this whole, streaming wars, NBA and the new TV
Yeah.
deal, we don't hear too much about like what's the structure with you in China. Because I know the NBA has a huge deal with China, but as far as like rights,
China's important for the NBA.
yeah. Because remember, well, I'm not sure this is not publicized too much. You know who used to really be big in China?
Kobe,
Woj. Woj.
Adrian Wojnarowski.
Yeah, he had his own show out there. I think he
I
he
thought you
did
were gonna say
something.
Kobe.
No, Woj had like
Oh,
a whole thing out there. There's
yeah.
something like they don't talk about it too much, but Woj has some sort of broadcast show. He has some sort of
Yeah.
show that was big out there.
Dude, you remember how much like I remember there was an old video. I think this was 2008 Beijing Olympics when Kobe walked out of the fucking limousine and like everyone ran to him. You remember that video?
Yeah, that man, I'm telling you, man. Every summer,
Yeah.
there's like a pilgrimage, man, from the players. We seen it this summer with Luca,
Yeah.
Zion, who else? Jason Tatum. There's
Yeah.
a Nike slash sponsorship. Like whether it's
Mhm.
Adidas or Under Armour, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's every summer with the top NBA
Yeah.
players. There's like a summit where these guys have to make the trip to China.
Yeah.
And
But dude, you remember?
well, my bad. And it's been like that ever since Jordan has been in the league. Jordan's been making the same pilgrimage. Is that the fans never knew about it, but
Well, I think Kobe was the peak of Chinese. Oh, Yao Ming, Kobe,
yeah.
Tracy McGrady. Those guys were the peak of Chinese
But
basketball.
but it, but
Like
it, but
fandom.
it's always been a thing. They just never.
Yeah.
There was I think when Jordan was playing, there wasn't social media to publicize it. But David
Yeah.
Stern has always been making that move since back then.
Oh, 100%. But I think it was peak of it paying off was Kobe's era.
Oh yeah. With Yao Ming for
Yeah.
sure.
Yao Ming, Kobe, Tracy McGrady. Bro, even like people forget Tracy McGrady was a fucking cultural icon at one point. When he went to China, it was a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're right, man. These are interesting times, man. It's gonna be an interesting, I would say, next couple of years with the NBA. But you're right
Also,
though.
yeah.
LeBron is it's gonna be a huge farewell on streaming.
Yeah, oh, 100%. That's what he's looking for. So why not the first year of like streaming? You have this LeBron farewell tour. You're ushering in a new era, including streaming services.
Yeah, farewell
Yeah.
tour.
And LeBron, he's for sure using it to like tell these streaming deals. He's like, "Yo, I made you this much money. Now let's talk about a show." He's not an idiot. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah, he has a
He wants to be a mogul.
yeah, I think he just expanded his media company.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He's gonna tell these streaming services. All right, yeah. You see, even at 41, I'm a cultural icon. Forget like basketball. Now you gotta pay me.
Yeah, I mean, look at that show he did with JJ.
Yes.
They did a quick
Man,
show, like that show was like a pilot show. It was like 6
Man, it was a job
episodes.
interview. It was a job interview.
Yeah, but it was dope though. That show, I'm not gonna lie, LeBron doing that show with JJ, that was dope. That's
Bro,
something
even the
hopefully they
barbershop.
continue. That was
Even
dope.
that barbershop episodes were big.
I mean, I wasn't really into them like that, but
I'm not into them either, but people watch them. I saw clips of them, so clearly someone's watching them if they're clipping them.
yeah. People, of course, they
Yeah.
got a lot of celebrities on them, but I think a
Yeah.
lot of that barbershop stuff, to me, it seems like a Nike ad. A lot
It
of
was corny.
No, it's not
was-
corny. It seems a lot of it is like Nike. It just seems like a Nike ad.
Maverick Carter, Maverick Carter trying to be a more of a entertainment
Narrator.
icon. Yeah, narrator kind of. He's
Yeah.
putting himself out there, which is good for him.
The
Like,
conversations at times don't seem authentic. It seems like they were already scripted.
That's what I'm saying. It was a commercial. That's why I call it corny.
Uh, yeah, but
Yeah.
LeBron, you know, like how big
He's
how big of a name he is now. It's like a lot of his stuff is gonna be kind of scripted.
also, you remember when you talked about PC culture, how these players follow PC culture? LeBron was the first one to follow PC culture, if we're keeping it real.
No, I think it might have been Magic and Bird.
No, man. Even Magic and Bird had controversy. Magic had controversies.
No. But I'm talking about as far as like being a figurehead for the league.
Oh no, figurehead, yes, but being that perfect figurehead was LeBron easily.
Perfect figurehead. Yeah, it might
Yes,
have been
because
because at least Jordan, at least he gambled. But Jordan was kind of a perfect figurehead too, because he knew to toe the line.
Yes,
He
but he had a
wasn't
lot of
dumb.
controversies, right? Like politically, he had a controversies. You remember when he said Republicans buy sneakers too when they try to make him endorse a South Carolina candidate. He also had the controversy of the gambling, obviously, and then Kobe, the accusations and everything, kind of him and his father's beef, his wife divorce. You don't see those controversies with LeBron. His personal matters, nothing. You see a sparkling, nice family, a representative of
Yeah, but
America,
none of
Black
that's real.
America.
We all know none of that's real because what human
Yep.
is perfect?
But dude, that's what I'm saying. He's the one that followed kind of the PC culture. He's like the Bill Cosby, the Cliff Huxtable of NBA.
Hey, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hush money involved. There's a lot of
Oh, for
things that
sure,
we don't know about. And
for
remember,
sure.
there's Nike. Nike's also involved.
I mean, Nike. A lot of big companies were involved. Correct.
Yeah, so they're
But
gonna hide,
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
We
But
seen
dude,
we
a
we
lot.
we we seen people who don't even have his image are able to hide things. Look at P Diddy. He's able to hide hotel footage of him beating on a woman.
Yeah,
So
one
and
hundred
and
percent.
and, and that's just P Diddy. His image is not as big as LeBron's. He doesn't have a
But Diddy,
Nike behind him.
man, he's an A-list celebrity though. He had Universal and these big music studios
Yeah,
behind him.
but compared to LeBron,
But
he's
he
not.
also had. I mean, he's not as
LeBron
big.
is levels ahead of him.
But those are athletes and entertainers. Diddy as an entertainer is an A-list celebrity.
Yeah, he's A-list celebrity, but think about it. The way he operates, the drinking, the
Yeah.
alcohol, the partying. There's nothing that says he doesn't have a Fortune 500
Well,
company behind him.
he's not
LeBron
meant for
does.
kids. Yeah, Diddy was never meant for kids. He was meant
Yeah.
for like teenagers and adults.
Yeah, but LeBron is meant for kids. Not only has the NBA, he has Nike directly behind him.
He's SpongeBob. He's meant for kids. He's child
Yeah.
friendly. But you didn't really see that with Allen Iverson. You saw kind of an edge, which made like people gravitate towards him because being Allen Iverson's cool, And like, don't get me wrong, LeBron is cool, but he's much more like crafty with his coolness. Like, it's much more of a charisma. It's not much of a LeBron James like pushing like social norms or pushing like making people question like family values. I think him, Steph Curry, they all introduced that kind of. And I think modern day, like if you want to look at the NBA's bad boys, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, but how often do you see those two kind of marketed as much as LeBron or Steph Curry?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what brings the dollars in is
Yeah,
what LeBron and Steph Curry is doing because they open up the door for the next generation
yeah,
to get the sponsorship money.
yeah. And you're
Because
seeing a lot of
hold on, the problem with Allen Iverson is that the sponsorship money would have never came in at the same rate that it is
no,
now. Had Allen Iverson been the face, it's not coming in like that.
no.
It would never come in like that. Not
I mean
like
that's why you see like James Harden. You never really saw him become like the face, despite
yeah.
him having best seasons in the NBA.
It's almost like
Mm.
being a president. Being a
Yeah,
president requires a certain image. You have to
yeah.
have a family. You have to be a certain age. There's a certain requirement. It's the same thing like to sit in LeBron, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan's position in the NBA. If you want to be that figurehead, there's a certain appeal. There's a certain look.
You follow A to Z rules. You
Yeah.
follow. You get into politics, but don't get too involved in politics where people start hating you. Um,
Yeah,
what else I could bring up?
believe it or not, there's been players that have actually been hired to control other players.
Yeah, I know.
Like what's his name? Vernon Maxwell. He actually
Yeah,
he actually talked about how the 76ers hired him to actually control Allen Iverson. I'm gonna play this clip real quick.
Out the fucking team for nothing though in the finals. I mean, we was getting the finals against Lakers.
Yeah.
And I was been playing the goddamn series. I didn't get a chance to play in the series because he said I wasn't. He wanted me to. I can't make Allen Iverson do what the fuck Allen Iverson don't want to do. He's a franchise player on the team. I know y'all brought me in here because I won 2 championships. Want me to show him how to be a, a leader and all. Man, I can't tell this little motherfucker what to do. You know this, D. And you know this. Hey, that's a motherfucker.
Listen.
That's you talking to some brick damn wall, telling Allen Iverson what the fuck to
One
do.
ear out there, be like, why are you talking to me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And that's where he was like, Max, you don't shut the fuck up, sound like them white folks. You know, I was like, well, damn, man, I'm just telling you what the motherfuckers brought me in here, man, to try to make, I can't, but he said, motherfucker, you ain't. I say, man, he said, I ain't gonna do shit to you. Shit. And Larry Brown called me in there right before goddamn the finals and shit and told me something about, Max, we gotta let you go. I told you I needed you to handle this young kid. I said, I can't make
right
this.
before the finals?
Yes. Yeah.
Damn.
You got rid of my dog ass.
That's not crazy. Cutting a player right before the finals.
Yeah.
But that's how much the NBA wanted to control Allen Iverson. They saw his impact. It was undeniable. Allen Iverson was like the most influential player in the league. The audience, he had kids coming in with sleeves. He had even white kids wearing braids. Like the influence was crazy, but they did not like the image, man. They didn't like what he was doing. The people he was hanging around with. It just would not bring in the sponsorship dollars. I think that's the only part that never really translated with David Stern. He never fully explained it. You know what I'm saying? He just said there's a dress code. But people didn't understand at the time he was negotiating with ESPN to get the original first-time deal. And that he couldn't do it if every night they was going to have Allen Iverson or just other players come in with do-rags, etc. The corporations wasn't going to spend the dollars on that.
Especially with hip hop at that time having a negative image too, because we just came straight off of the Biggie Smalls and Tupac beef, right? So the last thing the NBA wanted was to infuse those two worlds together.
Exactly. The cross branding with that, it's just the way guys getting $100 million deal from Nike or other sponsors, those things would never happen. Never happen.
Just recently, it became cool to have NBA players and franchises mix and dwell. Before that, these franchises did not want to associate with rappers.
Yeah, like look at the way Travis Scott, has all the collabs and everything, and them making rappers ambassadors. Those things would have never happened years ago. Those things would have never happened when Allen Iverson was playing, because the image, the way, there was no sample size other than previous athletes from before. But those athletes from before, like OJ, Dr. J, that had advertisements, they didn't have hip hop associated with it. It wasn't a big enough genre. I think the first NBA team to have hip hop associated with it, which the team didn't even know, the team didn't really even listen to hip hop like that. You know what team was it? The Bad Boy Pistons.
Oh, the Bad Boy Pistons.
Yeah, the Bad Boy, the Raiders. You see, the same time that the Bad Boy Pistons came up with the Raiders logo, that they were wearing the Raiders colors.
Yeah,
was when NWA had came about, and they were wearing the Raiders hat. I seen an interview with Isaiah Thomas. He had no clue about even NWA. That's how much those guys, they were not raised in the hip hop generation.
They were into jazz and blues.
Yeah, they were into other things that Isaiah Thomas didn't realize when the Bad Boy Pistons came up, that the Raiders logo was also being made popular by the NWA group. He had no idea. And that happened around the time when he was in his mid-20s, man. And he had no idea.
Late 80s.
Yeah, that shows you hip hop back then, it was so niche that guys even in their mid-20s on a superstar level like the Detroit Pistons, they weren't even listening to that shit like that. It was so niche.
Yeah.
But
Magic wasn't listening to shit like that. Magic was an R&B fan.
Mm-hmm. And when Allen Iverson came up, hip hop was still considered niche. It was I think hip hop was just on its commercial run in the 2000s.
Shaq played a role too. Shaq played a role when he rapped with Biggie Smalls and those guys.
Yeah, but it was still considered niche.
Yeah.
It was still because if you look at the even like the award shows, rappers like Biggie Smalls and
Yeah.
those guys they went to, they were like very cheaply underneath the basement awards. Rap wasn't on the level. Like when you think of a rap
Yeah.
award show nowadays,
Yeah.
you see like red carpets, designer clothes. It wasn't like that
Yeah.
back then. Guys were going into places where it was sketchy. You could get into a fight, a shootout could happen. Look at Biggie Smalls. He got killed at a hip hop album release
Sports award.
party. You know what I'm saying? Like these things were like underground. They were still underground. They weren't mainstream. And I think Allen
Yep.
Iverson, when he came up, the hip hop stuff, it just wasn't as mainstream as it is today. They would never
I mean,
hire a rapper to be an ambassador of a basketball team when Allen Iverson was playing. It was impossible. They were never gonna do that. Like now you
Well,
see Wale, you see J. Cole and Charlotte. They would
Drake.
never had done shit like no NBA team would ever affiliate with any one
No.
of these guys back then. Drake
I
with
mean,
the
think of-
Raptors.
Think about it like this: New York was the toughest in like hip hop when it came to the '90s. Biggie Smalls, Wu-Tang Clan. You look at, I mean, I'm missing a lot of rappers. Mobb Deep. Who else is a New York rapper I can think of on top of my
Like
head? 50 Cent.
Jay-Z.
50 Cent was a lot later. Jay-Z. Murder Inc. A lot of hip hop acts came out, right? But you never saw them associate them with like Patrick Ewing or any of those guys.
Nope.
Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason.
Nope.
Never. And they probably would have fit.
And even a player as big as Jay-Z, like not a player, even a rapper as big as Jay-Z, he had no affiliation with no NBA teams. It's not until
Mhm.
hip hop became mainstream and we seen him years later have an
Yeah.
affiliation with the Brooklyn Nets. But stuff like
Yeah.
that, it wasn't a normal thing. Like
Yeah.
like it wasn't a normal thing for that to happen. And that's why the dress code, the whole issue with the NBA and Allen Iverson, it's always kind of taken out of context because it's like, yo, the NBA did not have TV deals like that. The NBA was on TNT, and you had to have NBA League Pass. That was it.
Yeah.
There was no ESPN, NBA. Nah, it was none of that. It was like maybe ABC might get the finals. That's it. But I think the ESPN NBA deal when Allen Iverson first came about, or when he was on his rise, that was the first time they got like a huge deal like that. That was like the first time they really got a huge deal. But you know, everything has to be put into context because some people they still complain about the whole Allen Iverson dress code, and I'm just like, hey, if they complain about the Allen Iverson dress code, there's some of the same players who still like, oh yeah, they did Allen Iverson wrong. Then you have to give back those millions of dollars of endorsements that you get because it would have never happened for you like that.
It was whack. Like, there's no denying that. But
Yeah.
the NBA, they kind of, as a business standpoint, they obviously had to do what they had to do.
But it's not really the NBA. It's the sponsors. They do not want to they don't want to pay that money, advertise their products when the product looks a certain way. It's not really the NBA. It's the sponsors. Like nowadays, the sponsors they have adapted. They say, hey, Travis Scott is the guy. You know, oh, such and such rapper, Ice Spice. They realize the marketing is too big. It's too undeniable.
I remember it was Hennessy and Nas was a really big commercial. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, and look, that's another thing.
Diddy Ciroc.
The NBA used to never advertise alcohol. Now they advertise alcohol. They advertise gambling. That was a stigma. Oh, no gambling. Now they're advertising gambling. You know what I'm saying? Hey, who knows? Soon, I think the NBA might even start doing collabs with marijuana brands. I wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't shock me. If once they legalize marijuana, I would not be surprised if the NBA does collaborations where they let them advertise. Because if they're advertising gambling and alcohol, once they legalize marijuana throughout all 50 states or whatever it is throughout the country, I wouldn't be shocked if the NBA start seeing marijuana ads while you're watching League Pass or some shit.
100%.
Like nothing is out of bounds anymore. So, hey, they're going for the bag. They're going for the bag at the end of the day.
But also back to like LeBron and kind of like his whole image thing, right? A lot of players like Julius Randle, Jason Tatum, they have marketed their families to the extent where like it's gotten over with people. I remember, like, obviously Riley Curry, and you remember Steph Curry, Riley Curry press conferences during 2015.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, Chris Paul's kid making fun of Blake Griffin the way he looks. Like those were at one point it would became like a staple of every NBA player's kids being on TV.
Yeah, it softened up the league's image. It's soft, even though the league has really never done nothing to have like a bad image like that. They don't really have like a long history of a reputation of being like a bad boys league, but they were always
And then
perceived that way.
The cocaine era.
Yeah, they were always perceived that way.
Mm-hmm.
Even through the Jordan era, even through KG and the 2000s, they were always perceived like a bad boys league. But now with the way the league is now, it's not even perceived that way. That's why hip hop can now come into the league, because it's like they could more get culturally infused with different things, with gambling, alcohol, because the league is not perceived a certain way.
And that's everything. Like even NFL, they associate themselves with Jay-Z. Before then, they never had a hip hop performer in their Super Bowls. Never. Never, unless they tag along with like Madonna and Nicki Minaj, or I think Snoop Dogg tagged along for. I don't know if Snoop Dogg ever tagged along for a performance, but even Janet Jackson, they just made it a huge big deal when it wasn't even her fuck up.
Yeah,
so, you know,
true.
Yeah,
but you know what it is? At the end of the day, I feel like they've adapted to their audience, because at the end of the day, all these like, you know, all these leagues, they want to attract, I would say 15 to at least age 45. They mainly want to attract that. And I feel like they understand now that, hey, there's people that grew up, you know, with hip hop and they're 60 years old. So if they grew up with hip hop and they're 60, imagine the generation behind them. They're still listening, and this is the culture that they're infused in. So I feel like the leagues have adapted, like especially the NFL too.
Dr. Dre performed with Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent, and
you used to never see stuff like that in the NFL. Never.
No.
It would be like
especially
Coldplay.
someone like Dr. Dre and Eminem, who has had controversial hip hop careers. Same with 50 Cent getting shot many times. You wouldn't imagine like a world where those two are performing. Snoop Dogg with his whole rep before becoming a star. The guy was almost charged with, I forgot, a felony, right? During Doggy Style era, over in a gang association. Like, it's just crazy how much the league has, much like the world, society, and also these leagues who at one point perceived as kind of trying to keep as much distance as possible, right, with hip hop. Now they're kind of infusing their culture with hip hop. Like right now, I think this Super Bowl we're seeing Kendrick Lamar perform, right?
Yeah, it's very culturally relevant. I think this is the first time where we see a culturally, because Kendrick had the best year, so it's like the Super Bowl actually reflects something that happened recently. This is the first time we're seeing it so close, tied together.
It's not a nostalgia. It's not nostalgia.
Yeah,
usually it's nostalgia, right?
Yep.
Because like Dr. Dre hasn't released an album since 2001, so it's cool to see Dr. Dre performing, you know, all of his classics. It's cool to see Eminem, you know, kind of perform 50 Cent in the club, and the way he did it, like his music video. Those were like, what the fuck, cool, you know?
Yep. So at the end of the day, it's tough. It's tough to see, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, everything evolves. If it's not evolving, it's dying.
Yeah, I think internet has also made these cultures relevant. Like, they're not like us. You can't tell me if it wasn't for the Twitter campaign and how much people memed it and loved it, that we wouldn't see on the Super Bowl today and soon to be February, you know?
Correct. Yeah. It's these leagues, it forced these leagues to adapt, because now the world is a lot smaller with the web and just the way things go viral on these social media platforms. It kind of created like a blurred line. Like everything is like in a way kind of cross marketing, cross promoting. It's audience are blurred, you know. An audience here could be also an audience that overlaps here. It's a different thing. Look at Beyonce. This year's Christmas games, you know, NFL Christmas games, has to do with Beyonce. It's a great fusion. It's a great fusion. There's a lot of casuals, especially the ladies. They're gonna be tuned in. Look at the election. There was a lot of people that didn't care about it, but they tuned in just to hear Beyonce talk. So it's a lot of cross you know, cross marketing, cross, you know, audience overlaps. These are interesting fucking times, man. I tell you
Yeah.
that.
We are moving ahead, bro. Like even nerds have become popular. Like Elon Musk, who would have thought that a nerd would decide what the election results would be just by his influence and kind of like him being
Yeah.
this whole beacon of hope.
And you see that you saw his reception during that UFC fight at Madison Square Garden
Yeah,
with Trump
Elon
over
Musk is
there.
a
Like
celebrity now.
it's
Yeah.
a lot of like that UFC signified a lot of there was a lot of different subsets infused in that. It was like the
Yeah.
political sphere, the fighting world,
Because the UFC is a new league, like NBA. These are Godfather leagues, right?
Mhm.
And you look at the NBA, NFL, even boxing. Which boxing has also kind of sent towards the Trump thing, but not as heavy, obviously, because boxing isn't that culturally relevant as UFC. But UFC, they're kind of like a new thing, right? They're kind of the bad boys of the whole like sports industry. Dana White himself was a personality, which David Stern was a personality. Roger Goodell was a personality, but they weren't that big of a personality outside of what they do.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you brought up with boxing, yeah, they haven't really infused culturally until they accepted the prize fighting. Like when I say
Yeah.
prize fighting, I mean like
YouTubers,
no, not even YouTubers. When they accepted Conor McGregor versus
manufacturers.
Floyd.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, when they
and
started
that,
doing stuff like that is when boxing got more culturally infused. Because the
'cause I'm
last
a
time they
boxing
really,
fan.
the I would say the last person other than Mike Tyson to really culturally infuse boxing
Floyd
is
Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather. Yeah,
Yeah.
he took
Oh, bro,
he
but
took the social media way of promoting for fights.
yes, but you remember at one point, dude, boxing was the like outside of baseball. Even baseball's questionable. Boxing was that league that makes you into a superstar household name. You remember
Mhm.
Foreman? You remember who was the World War II Joe
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 Lewis.
Frazier,
Yeah, like
Joe Lewis.
there's a lot of cultural like people
Yeah,
almost timestamp history. You can almost
through
timestamp
boxing.
certain time frames in history with boxing.
Muhammad Ali in the '60s with Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Um, Joe Lewis with the World War II, right? Because he stopped boxing to serve in World War II. Um, you could bring up a lot of names, man.
Yeah.
Foreman in the '90s, Tyson's era, and Foreman's era with Ali, and kind of how like he kind of filled in that void when Ali retired.
Mhm.
You look at
Look at boxing. Tyson fought. I forgot who he fought, but the night he fought someone, Tupac was there, and those are the last pieces of
was it like
footage
Evander Holyfield, I
of
believe, right?
no, I don't think it was Holyfield. It was somebody, but Tyson
Yeah.
fought somebody, and that was the last night. Those are the final hours of Tupac being alive. Like,
Yeah.
look at the cultural relevance.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
but baseball, I feel like baseball is slowly getting back to that because you could see the investment, the way they treated this year's MLB playoffs in social media, the way they posted it, the way the videos that they have of the players running through the bases. I was like, yo, baseball has invested in some money
Mhm.
into like kind of creating like a whole atmosphere, a whole ecosystem online with their product. It looks a lot
Bro,
different now.
it's the most relevant sport in Houston if we're keeping it real.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it probably is. Out here,
It is.
you guys love your baseball, but I'm saying like
All day
it's lost its
Yeah.
relevance. Like
Yeah,
back,
it did
like
lose its relevance.
yeah, it used to tie into American culture, but it kind of lost its way. But I see it now; it's working its way back.
Yeah. Well, and I also got to give credit to like the Houston Astros and the Yankees rivalry. That brought it back big time.
Yeah,
And I'm talking about like the recent rivalries where they take each other like 7 games and every game was hard fought and you think the Yankees are once again like gonna win and the Yankees becoming good once again, the Dodgers becoming good once again. That opened the floor for baseball to come back.
Mhm.
Those two major franchises.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes it takes a generation of players to change
Yeah.
things. And it's the same thing
Yeah.
like the NBA. Some people might feel like right now they don't have too much star power outside of the older stars, but it only takes one draft class. Look at the 96 draft class. You got Kobe,
Yeah.
you got Jason Kidd, you got Steve Nash, you got Ray Allen. Then
Jason
eventually you
Kidd
got
was
Vince
the
Carter's and all that.
Jason Kidd I think was a year ahead. But still I agree.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
there
yeah.
was like a 97 96, 97, 98. That kind of
Yeah, Dirk
changed the league.
Nowitzki, Paul
Yeah.
Pierce, Vince Carter, Eric Carter. You have, D Wade, LeBron in 03. You have a lot of Kevin Durant 07. I think Dwight Howard 05. No, it was Dwight Howard 05 or 04. And then Chris Paul. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of new stars kind of came in and kind of became bigger names. Derrick Rose 2008.
Yeah, there's always that class. There's always
2000
that one class that it changed everything. Like if you look at the LeBron class, it kind of changed
Yeah.
the way the league operated. It was almost like young guys came in like Melo, LeBron, and Wade. They were instantly got the keys to their franchise. Their franchise knew right away, okay, these guys are valuable. We're gonna put all our chips into these guys right away.
Yeah. 2009, yeah.
Because it wasn't like that for Kobe. Kobe came to the Lakers. He had to play behind Eddie Jones. Those times it was different. They weren't gonna make a high school kid, get 40 minutes
starter.
a game. Yeah, they weren't gonna
Yep.
do that. But now, that's the norm.
With
That's
Melo,
the norm now.
Melo, Wade, and LeBron became starters instantly.
Yeah, that's the norm
And then
now.
obviously 2009, where you had Blake Griffin somehow turn the Clippers around, become a mega superstar. And then you have, James Harden, Steph Curry becoming MVPs and GOATs in their own realm, right? It's just crazy how every generation has something. I think this era right now we're not appreciating it. But bro, you look at it, I mean, dude, what first overall pick can you really say was a disappointment in the past few years? Karl Anthony Towns was a success. Ben Simmons early on was a success, but unfortunately we know what happened now. You look at Markelle Fultz was a failure, unfortunately, but Jason Tatum became a star. De'Aaron Fox, he's a star. Then you look at 2018, Luka Doncic, Jaren Jackson Jr., Trae Young. You look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You look at 2020, Zion Williamson, John Morant. When they're healthy, they're one of the most exciting players. Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, a lot of names. Paulo Banchero, Chet Holmgren. You can name a lot of players that have become electric stars, but they're not getting their respect right now as we speak. Anthony Edwards. You could just bring a bunch of names right now that are becoming more relevant as time progresses.
Yep. Hey, interesting times that we're in. But
Yes,
Saeed,
sir.
it's definitely been real, man.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate you. You guys definitely check out Saeed's newsletter in the description below.
And
Catch up with
subscribe
all
to
the
our
latest
socials,
NBA news. A lot going on in this crazy league right now. A lot of changes are happening on the tech side, TV side, and within the players and teams themselves. Just the style of play, the way the salary cap is. Just keep up with all that. Definitely check it out. And yeah, man, it's been real.
Subscribe to Orange Cookies, man.
Definitely appreciate you.
Take care, bro.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace.